good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today we're going back behind my Spotify. This time around, we are going to be reviewing another album. Technically, she calls this an EP, but listen, if Spotify deems it an album, it's an album. Okay? It's not an EP. I consider it. I guess it could be considered an EP, but it's an album. It's an album. Spotify calls it an album. It's an album. It's an album. It's an album, man. And that's just the truth. You know? Crazy. Hold on one second. There we go. Perfect. So we're gonna be reviewing VII. I believe it's VII. I think that's what it's called. By Chrissy Costanza. So, just a little bit of background before we go into this album, or EP, whatever you want to call it. I've actually, I discovered Chrissy way before Against the Current, and way before this album. I actually started listening to her, not music, but her vocals, when she did collabs with Kurt Hugo Schneider, Alex Scu, all those guys, and that was when that was where I found out about her music. I didn't know she was in a band. Like, if we just, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I guess we can look it up real quick. I didn't know she was in a band. Like, I think I knew about it, but I didn't know she was in a band until Fever. And what's funny is this isn't even considered an album. They consider this an EP. It's an album. It's an album. Although I wish I could play this on stream, but you can't because it's copyrighted. But now they're they're an independent band. But yeah, I didn't know that she was in a band probably until all this came out. And it's a little sad. I probably should have known, but I think I'm pretty sure I knew she had a band. I just never bothered to give it a chance until this album came out. And dude, every single, I think probably the first 4 here, the singles that they dropped with this are the best. But Lullaby is another good single. But yeah, so just from that, that's how I discovered Chrissy, not through this album, not through Against Current, but from her Kurt Hugo Schneider days, which I think she did really good covers with those collabs. I thought they were really cool. But just diving into this. This is so good. This is so good, man. Every single song on this, every song deserves 1 million plays. I'm just saying. It's a really good album, or EP, whatever you want to call it. But she did actually drop another single. That's not. I don't know if it's related to a deluxe of what this is, but the one thing I love about this album, we're just gonna call it an album, I don't care, is there's a concept to it, and there's a story that is so easily followed. Because obviously the title of the album is VII, which you could just be like, oh, it's because there's 7 tracks in it. No, it's because the title track, 7 Minutes in Hell. But I feel like there is some storyline. There's a deeper storyline behind the existing storyline that I'm probably not gonna figure out anytime soon. But there's a heaven and hell type of deeper storyline that I think only Chrissy knows about, and I can't really pinpoint it. But there is a storyline that Chrissy is talking about, and you can kind of figure it out within some of the songs. And before we get into that, I do want to say there's a lot of sounds on this album that you don't hear in Against the Current. I think it's, is it You'd Be Right? Yeah. In You'd Be Right, there's a trappy, hip-hoppy sound, with a beat in the background that I really liked. And then I think it's Some Like It Hot and Pick Your Poison that are like, they sound like there's almost like a heavier sound than from like Against the Current on those tracks. I think that's really cool. But talking about the story that goes on in this, like there is, I would say there's 3 songs in here where it's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. There's 3 songs specifically that are story related. Like if you're looking at like 21 Pilots and how 3 of the music videos are lore related to, like, let's say on Clancy, there's 3 music videos on that record that are story related. And well, I don't know 21 Pilots too well, and I did actually watch a synopsis of that lore. With Chrissy's album here, there are 3 songs specifically that I think tie into the lore she's trying to tie into the story that she's trying to tell. So like 7 Minutes in Hell, that's the first one. Talks about like how instead of 7 minutes in heaven, which is the whole like, oh, go into a closet, do whatever you want for 7 minutes. She talks about how like it was 7 instead of 7 minutes in heaven, it was 7 minutes in hell. And then like I think if looks could kill, I think the line is, darling, if looks could kill, I would never take my eyes off. So like if she could stare at him and he would just die, like she just would never take her eyes off. And I think that's an interesting story point. But then you get to like, I tried to act your age. That, honestly, it is probably the deepest song that Chrissy has ever wrote. Like it like dives into a part of Chrissy that no one gets to see, which is interesting. And then like when I heard this song, I was like, this makes sense as to why this isn't like an Against the Current album. Like it makes sense why she wanted to do her own little project instead of putting it on an Against the Current thing, because someone would listen to that and be like, this is not Against the Current, this is Chrissy. And I think that's kind of the thing there. But like, I Tried to Act Your Age is such a deep song. I really want to dive behind the lyrics, but obviously I don't do lyric lore anymore. But like, basically that was a whole series where I dive into the lyrics of every single song. But just remembering I Tried to Act Your Age is such a like, it's really depressing, because like you think about the lyrics in that song, it's like Chrissy is probably writing about a time like when she was in like high school or something, and she was dating like an older dude or something, and she tried to act his age. And dude, it's really, it's sad hearing the song and being like, I think like the ending of the song, like before the last chorus, she goes like, in order to move on, she had to let a part of her die, which, that sucks, man. It really sucks. It's like Chrissy almost grew up too fast because of just hearing that song. But solid album. See, it says it right there. But solid album. I would like to see Chrissy just do an album, like a full-on album with CD and everything. Like I would love to see her do that in the future, because there's something here that you would not hear in Against the Current. But yeah, I would love to see more from her in the future. I don't know if she's doing anything with this song, because this came out like not too long ago, so I don't know if there's going to be an extended thing of 7 and there's going to be a full-on album release, like a CD and everything. That would be kind of cool. But still solid record. If I had to give it, like, I say record, but album, if I had to give it a rating, I don't want to say 7 out of 10, because that's too on theme here. We can't do that. So I am gonna give it like an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, because it's a solid album. I think there's like, the reason I'd give it an 8 is because there's songs that I prefer more than others. Like, I do think I prefer like 7 Minutes in Hell, If Looks Could Kill. By the way, If Looks Could Kill, that is the best song on this album. Literally is the best song. Like, but top 3, If Looks Could Kill, 7 Minutes in Hell, and I Tried to Act Your Age. Those are like the the best on this whole thing, but like, yeah, I did prefer other songs than others, but a lot of the songs in here are really good. So, but that's going to be the video for today, but thank you guys for watching. If you did, as always, I appreciate it a ton, and I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, goodbye.